Celery juice? Why? Hey everyone, I'm Abby Sharp. Welcome to Abby's Kitchen. Today's video is sponsored by Squarespace, and we will be reviewing lifestyle darling Jenn Im. But first, let's talk about my sponsor, Squarespace. So I remember when I started Abby's Kitchen, getting the whole website going seemed like the biggest hurdle. And I hear that same thing from a lot of new hopeful bloggers that I coach who maybe are just less tech savvy or just rightfully feel overwhelmed with all of the options and choices. But Squarespace really does take the guesswork out of building a website, blog, or online store. They have so many amazing features for e-commerce, setting up members only areas, accessing analytics, and integrating social media. I have been so impressed by how easy and simple they pull together all of the hard parts of getting a business or passion project off the ground, so that way you can focus on what you do best. So if you're interested in getting started, you can check out squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/AbbySharp to save 10% off of your first purchase of a website or domain. And before we hop into this, check out my disclaimer on screen or in the description, along with a trigger warning for those with disordered eating histories. You can definitely feel free to skip this video if what I eat in a day content is not supportive to you and your journey. All right, folks, so Jenn is a Korean American fashion and beauty vlogger who started her YouTube Clothes Encounters, very cute, over about a decade ago, and now has amassed millions of fans and followers. And since I started watching her, thanks to all your suggestions, I 100% understand the appeal. Also, a side note, this is the most recent What I Eat in a Week at the time I'm filming this, and I know I'm filming this ahead of time, so please do not crucify me if it's not her most recent one. Let's take a look. Gotta start the video off with a little celery juice B-roll. Classic lifestyle influencer trope. Now, normally I would rant for like 20 minutes about this, but I think I've discussed celery juice enough on this channel. Bottom line, it's just expensive water with a little bit of nutrition in it and some flavor and color. If you love said flavor and color and nutrition, amazing. Drink that up. But there's no magical health benefits to celery juice above just drinking regular water and eating celery. Thankfully, I've watched a lot of Jenn's content, but of course not everything, so feel free to correct me here. And unlike a lot of celery juice peddlers, I don't ever hear Jenn plug the virtues of medical medium or wax poetic about how celery juice cures cancer and reduces bloating or is involved in some other bullshit. In fact, she doesn't really say anything at all about it. So my guess is that she just likes the flavor or finds it refreshing or thinks it's like an easy way to hydrate, which of course it is. Not my style, but I'm not gonna yuck someone's yum. So if she loves it, I love it. Now, after the juice, which she seems to have a few times this week, we get into Jenn's actual breakfast. Now, what I love here is that Jenn isn't afraid to switch things up, and that is always great since I always say that the healthiest diet is a varied diet. So we see avocado toast with the perfect poached egg, yogurt parfaits with granola and fruit, a fruit smoothie bowl topped with granola, a protein smoothie with fruit, spinach, and protein powder, and my favorite breakfast of the week, a nutrient-dense overnight oats. Let's take a look.
I absolutely love.
This is a delicious looking and perfectly balanced make-ahead breakfast. Love it. We have fiber-rich carbs from the oats and fruit, plus some healthy fats and protein in the nuts and seeds. But what I really love about this meal is how Jenn talks about the oats. She doesn't go on about how they're clean or healthy or how low sugar they are. She straight up just starts to romanticize their texture and just talks about how much she likes them. And that, my friends, is how you make naturally nourishing food super exciting. That's what makes you want to choose more nutrient-dense meals every single day. And we see this attitude when she dives into a lot of her meals. So for example, one day she has just straight up oranges and watermelon for breakfast, describing it as the perfect combination because watermelon is like sweet with a good structure, while orange is tangy and juicy and soft. Obviously, this, for example, is not the most balanced, substantial breakfast as it is lacking a source of protein and fat. But judging by all of her other choices that week, she clearly knows how to assemble a really balanced breakfast bowl. So this may have just been a morning that she was not very hungry. And when you're listening to your body like that, that's to be expected. We're not all like robots.
Meet more Tharp robot
With perfectly calibrated calorie counters. Our metabolism, appetite, and cravings are expected to vary from day to day or within the day. So that makes total sense to me. But let's take a look at lunch. Now, like breakfast, Jenn's lunch is always exciting and new. So sometimes it's leftover curry or fried rice from the dinner before. Other times she's able to whip something up really quick using a few grocery store staples like bagged salad. So one day she has these halloumi lettuce wraps, which, side note, totally makes me yearn for the salty squeak of a good slice of halloumi. Love it. Other days, it's like garlic pan-fried chicken on salad with avocado and sesame dressing. Another is a spinach wrap stuffed with veggie nuggets and vegan cream cheese. And another day is bagged salad with leftover veggie Wellington, roasted potato, and gravy. Oh my gosh, that looks unreal. I would say that if we are trying to really optimize each meal for satiety, sometimes her lunches can be a little bit lower carb. So for example, in the case of the chicken salad, she could throw in some cooked rice or serve it with pita or bread. But of course, in real life, in the context of her higher carb snacks and breakfast, everything typically evens out. Now, even though the entire video gave me mad food envy, I would say that my favorite lunch of her week was her Korean party noodles. Friends, let's take a look and get inspired. How awesome does that look? So we've got some protein and fat from the shredded cooked eggs, carbs from the noodles, and lots of stir-fried veggies. So kelp, aka seaweed, is also a really great source of vitamin K, folate, and magnesium, plus a variety of carotenoid and flavonoid antioxidants. So it's also a really great nutrient-dense way to add a ton of nutrition and flavor to a simple soup broth. I also want to mention how Jenn makes food choices based less on external factors like a nutrition panel or the latest diet trend, and instead focuses on how food makes her feel physically and emotionally. Let's take a look.
For my lunch, I have my leftover fried rice. This is the last of it. And just to make it a little bit more substantial, I steamed 3 dumplings. And I have the puldak sauce on the side. You know, it's just so good with the freaking dumplings, man. And last time I actually didn't get any heartburn, so.
Okay, so from watching some of Jenn's content, I have learned that she, like 15 to 30% of adults, gets pretty bad heartburn. So she loves this super spicy sauce, and I also love super spicy sauces, but she knows that sometimes too much heat can exacerbate her symptoms. So based on some experimentation, however, she's been able to determine that if she's careful with her portion sizes of the spicy sauce, she can keep that burn sensation at bay. This is what intuitive eating is all about. It's not about denying yourself a food that you love outright, but about collecting data over time on how food makes you feel, and then making an educated choice on what you're going to do with that knowledge. Sometimes eating a food that you really love is maybe worth the uncomfortable consequence. And other times, maybe it's not. That is just for you to decide, and it's a totally personal thing. But let's switch gears and talk about Jenn's dinner. I love Jenn's dinners because they often bring in some of her Korean roots, which honestly is so inspiring for me to see. From chicken and brown rice lettuce wraps with kimchi and veggies, to salad with veggie dumplings, avocado and chicken, to stir fries, curry, and a dumpling soup. All of her meals feel generally well balanced and in totally normal portions for a young girl like Jenn. Now let's take a look at these amazing looking chicken lettuce wraps.
Oh my goodness, I am a very happy girl. Oh my god, I'm so excited to eat this. I've been craving this for a couple of days. So I'm gonna first get my sesame leaf. I put a little samjang on it.
Honestly, tell me this isn't the most satisfying and inspiring what I eat in a day you have ever seen. Watching her eat with so much unapologetic enthusiasm actually reminds me of one of my favorite movie food scenes of all time, the make-believe food scene from Robin Williams' Hook.
Everybody say grace.
Bless this, O Lord.
Doesn't that just bring you back to simpler times when eating wasn't so damn complicated by diet culture and rules? Ugh, good times. Anyways, speaking of diet culture, Jenn also doesn't seem to have too many qualms or concerns about indulging in an amazing looking pizza dinner on a random Monday night. Let's watch.
We just ordered from one of our favorite pizza spots called Wood. We've got a margarita pizza, a 4-cheese truffle pizza, a chopped salad,
Healthy.
and then I got these balls. So I kind of want to try these balls first.
Is it like cheese and potato or something?
I'm not sure actually.
That girl just face planted straight into that cheesy deep fried arancini without any qualifiers or justification of her choice as being like a cheat meal or some kind of splurge or indulgence. This is the kind of what I eat in a day I want to watch. Now, if we're looking at these meals at a macro level, there's lots to love about Jenn's meals as well. So we typically have some kind of protein like chicken or tofu, fat in the avocado or cooking oil, carbs like dumplings, potatoes or rice, and lots of veggies like eggplant, corn, broccoli, and carrots. She even gets a little salad to balance out her pizza dinner, and I mean, I usually don't even do that. So yeah, nothing I'm seeing here reads as diet food, and it appears that she actually loves all of the food that she eats. Finally, let's round this out talking briefly about her snacks and desserts, which are generally fruit like watermelon or orange, or on one occasion, a delicious looking matcha scone with butter. That I feel like I need in my life. All good options if you just need like a little something to carry you between meals. But of course, if we wanted to bump up the satiety factor, we could bring in the principles of my hunger crushing combination. So maybe pairing that fruit with a little nuts or cheese or yogurt, and the scone could be with some cashew butter as a spread. And on that note, let's talk about the stats here. And again, trigger warning, you can skip to the timestamp on the screen if you want to avoid hearing any numbers in this section. But according to some very crude estimations, Jenn is consuming on average somewhere around 1,600 to 1,700 calories with a totally normal balanced macronutrient split of about 50% of her calories coming from carbs, 30% from fat, and 20% from protein. She's getting lots of fiber and antioxidants thanks to all of that colorful produce in her diet. So the only thing that I see as potentially lacking most days are iron, calcium, and vitamin D, which are very common nutrients of concern for young women. Now let's talk about what I like here. And friends, I gotta say, Abby likey like. I am low-key kind of obsessed with this girl now, just saying. But first of all, I love how varied Jenn's meals are across this week. I think this is the first What I Eat in a Week that I've watched that doesn't feature literally the same breakfast garnished slightly differently every single day. And there's nothing wrong with having a solid breakfast routine, so no judgment here. Let's be real, most of us don't have the mental energy to think up new innovative recipes in the early morning before we've even had our coffee. But somehow, Jenn makes this whole thing look super doable. Her recipes feel pretty accessible, inexpensive, easy, and fast. And when she does cook a big batch of something, she knows that she can just throw it into rotation as leftovers the next day. I also appreciate that the ingredients she focuses on are generally budget-friendly and easy to find. So lots of noodles, veggies, oats, frozen dumplings, tofu, and fruit. All good things. Now let's consider some gentle nutrition tips for Jenn based on this week. Honestly, I think that Jenn is doing an amazing job balancing a desire for nutrition and a drive for pleasure. It doesn't seem like she's ever overthinking her food choices. She just listens to what her body tells her feels good and what doesn't, and lets that guide her choices. So for example, the girl loves her spicy hot sauce. You can just tell that it brings her joy. But she knows that spicy food sets off her heartburn. So she carefully tests the waters at different amounts and with different foods to see how much she can tolerate. This is what intuitive eating and gentle nutrition is about. It's about collecting individual data on how food makes you feel, not following an arbitrary set of hard and fast universal rules. But just going off of her nutrient analysis, I would say that she could probably bump up the iron in her diet by maybe throwing in some more dark leafy greens into her soups or stir fries, adding some extra legumes like lentils or chickpeas to her stir fries and curries, topping her breakfast bowls off with maybe some pumpkin seeds, and swapping quinoa for rice some days of the week. She could also easily boost the calcium in her diet by choosing tofu that's made with calcium phosphate, and also by adding in like a handful of frozen edamame to some of her salads or soups. And if she loves her hot sauce and wants to try some other ways to enjoy the heat without the discomfort of her heartburn, here are a few little tips. Number one, you can serve that spicy sauce with a smaller meal. So this might mean splitting a dinner or lunch into 2 smaller mini meals, or having it as like a smaller meal, but then bulking up her fruit snack with a source of fat and protein. 2, she could try having any spicy meals earlier on in the day so that she isn't laying down right afterwards, which again can make heartburn worse. 3, if she does have a spicy meal at dinner, she could plan to go for a little walk afterwards to get things moving before she lays down to go to sleep. And 4, pick your heartburn battles. If you want to add a lot of heat to your dinner, maybe go easy on other heartburn triggering ingredients like alcohol, citrus, chocolate, tomatoes, higher fat foods, and carbonated drinks at the same meal or day. I want to now finish off talking briefly about Jenn's relationship with her body and food. Now, reminder that what I see here on the channel tells me very little about someone's true relationship with food, but I'm basing this off of the videos that I watched. First of all, can I just say that I am an official Jenn subby? It is so refreshing to watch a YouTuber go through their day and not have to go off on how one food cures brain fog and the other one banishes bloat. The commentary around Jenn's meals are solely based in excitement and joy, not wellness rhetoric and pseudoscience. So for example, there's this video where she's making a strawberry sando, and it legit puts me in a good mood for the rest of the day. I'm gonna let you guys watch it in case you too would like to have a good day.
Oh my god. Wow! Oh my god, it's so beautiful! Oh my god, this brings me so much joy. I can't believe I did this. It's showtime.
See? Doesn't that just like lift your spirits? This to me does more for my serotonin levels than like a snuggly puppy dog screensaver. Happy people making happy food and being happy eating it. We need more happy, morally neutral food content on YouTube. Love it. And then there was this video where her and her partner Ben did like a fry-off competition, which again, YouTube gold.
I think it's clear who won.
It's not about the cover of the book, it's what's inside the book.
You made a fry tower.
But generally speaking, I love that Jenn talks about food as helping you feel good and well nourished, not light or flat. And in all the videos I watched, I only think I heard her say the word clean once, and she was kind of using it as a synonym for healthy eating, which again, I don't love. I don't love the word, but I would say it's pretty encouraging since you could probably get blackout drunk in the first 5 minutes of most of the videos that I review here if you were to make a drinking game out of YouTubers' use of the word clean. But hopefully, if we can all just band together, we can eliminate that word from our wellness lexicon and use it only to describe, washing our hands. So Jenn, if you're watching, gather the troops and let's make this happen. Now, I also want to acknowledge that this attitude wasn't always necessarily easy for Jenn. In her December video on body image, she talks about the progress that she's made in her own relationship with her body. Let's take a quick look.
Historically, in the past, every time I would go on any type of trip, I would come home like feeling fat. It's because when I'm on like these trips, I am eating, I'm indulging, I'm drinking, I'm doing everything. And then after, I would have this wave of guilt, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you had brownies every single night. I would just kind of psychologically punish myself. It's like the first time I have been showing my body some compassion. Like, a body is meant to expand, contract. It's gonna droop when we're gonna get older. It's just a part of life. Accept my body as it is, because if I'm not gonna accept my body the way it is now, if I lose 10 pounds, I'm still gonna find something that I wanna change about it.
So Jenn talks about how, like so many of us, we get out of the holiday season having consumed a lot of rich food and booze, and as a result, we end up feeling guilty and fat. But Jenn says that this time, she hasn't been body checking or criticizing her body, so I love that she's showing her body some compassion and learning to embrace where she's at today. Because I absolutely agree. Most of the time, reaching for one aesthetic goal just leads to a fixation on something else. So I'm really loving the shift in mentality towards a goal of self-acceptance and self-love rather than a physical desire to lose 10 pounds. And according to Jenn, journaling really helped her to reach those goals and to trust her body. So I know a lot of you guys asked me how to respect your body even if maybe you don't like the way that it looks. And I've got a whole video on this that I'm gonna link below. But I also think that trying to do some more introspective activities like journaling can definitely help. And on that note, folks, that is all that I have for you guys today. Thank you again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. If you liked it, be sure to give it the thumbs up. Leave me a comment below on who you'd like to see me review next. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time on Abby's Kitchen. Bye.